Well, the official Blues Brothers review is about to open all over Australia, and joining me on the phone from Toronto in Canada is the extremely talented Keiron Lafferty, who plays Elwood Blues. Originally from Toronto, Keiron is an actor, a writer and a musician who has a long history of playing Elwood and now spends his time touring with the only Blues Brothers show that's been officially sanctioned by both Dan Aykroyd and the wife of the late John Belushi. Keiron, welcome.
Thank you, Sandy. Lovely to meet you over the phone, and we're certainly looking forward to getting to Australia and warming up a little.
I can't wait to see the show. Every review I've read about it all around the world says it's absolutely fantastic. Keiron, tell us a story about how you first started playing Elwood Blues.
Well, there was a show in Vegas actually called Legends in Concert, which is a famous show there, and a friend of mine was playing in the band in the show, and the Elwood had quit. And he said, "Oh, you got to see my friend Keiron do this." And he phoned me and goes, "You got to go out and audition for this." And it really was not anywhere near what was on my mind at the moment. But when I went and saw the show, I was very impressed with the talent, the level that you had to get to do these parts. And so it was a challenge. It was musical theater, and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna throw myself into it. And I love music and comedy, and particularly, impersonated by or embodied by the character Elwood. What better character could you do to bring music and comedy together?
Yeah, so, absolutely. Very lucky. Well, I'm told that you have Elwood's South Chicago accent down perfectly, that you play a really mean blues harp like you were born on the streets of the city, and you've got an absolute ability to capture the physicality of the original Blues Brothers right down to the loosey-goosey dance moves. How difficult is it to do that? I mean, to play those culturally iconic roles? Well,
we had a great teacher. We had great help from Dan and Judy, and I think they really, gave us the backstory of these characters, and we sat and watched the movie and the dance moves and went through, really every part of the show, particularly with Judy. She's very hands-on and worked with a choreographer, of course, but I think we had an opportunity to go to Blues Brothers boot camp, if you will, and I think that made a huge difference.
Keiron, tell us a little bit about those Blues Brothers boot camps.
Well, Blues Brothers boot camp was just a very intense rehearsal time that we did before the first show in Chicago, the Blues Brothers Revival show. And we worked very closely with Dan and Judy, particularly with Judy. She's very hands-on, and we had to go through the movie and the dance moves, the tunes, and pretty much every aspect of these characters. We met Dan a little bit later, who's just a wealth of information, not only about blues and R&B, but just about everything. But he was very supportive, very insightful, and I think I think he said it very well. He said that Jake and Elwood were sociopaths with a heart of gold. I thought that pretty much nailed those guys, and I think that's part of their popularity. That's appealing to people.
And, of course, you'd grown up yourself in Toronto, kind of admiring the Blues Brothers and living them at a young age, too. Were you in awe in Dan's presence?
Yes, definitely. Huge fan. I didn't meet him until opening night, and it was a pretty nerve-wracking experience for me, because here I am portraying this character who's very near and dear to his heart, and we haven't met, we haven't broken the ice, so I was pretty nervous, and I was saying, I got to meet him before the show. I can't go on unless we talk or something. This is going to drive me crazy. And they said, "Oh no, Dan does not meet people before the show." And I'm going, "Oh no," and I'm in my dressing room, and suddenly I hear this voice down the hallway, "Where's that Elwood Blues?" And that was Dan, and he was just a wonderful, generous person. He came in and introduced himself, and we did a little conference and with the cast, and he was great, very, very generous man.
And what did he think about your performance?
He loved it. He's been very supportive, and always there comments or questions, or just willing to impart whatever he can into the show. He's been great support.
What can we expect to see in the show? I know it's full of action. I hear that every number is a winner, and it's presented in concert-type style, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really a combination of live concert, live theater, and multimedia. So we work all those elements together, make up the show, and it's very much an homage to the great history of American music, particularly Chicago music, where the blues, became electric, and everything started from there. So this is an homage to that and to the comedy of Jake and Elwood.
What do you think the Blues Brothers' legacy really is?
I think the Blues Brothers were the ultimate fans of blues. That's their whole life was to channel that feeling. Of course, they were living it. I'm talking fictitiously about their characters, of course. They were living it, but they were ultimately the biggest fans of the blues. And I think they've done a lot for blues music and rhythm and blues music, and certainly for all the artists that have ever been involved with them. And they're still, Dan and Jim Belushi are still out touring with Sam Moore from Sam and Dave, and all kinds of other great artists. And so it's really been almost a 40-year legacy and boost for rhythm and blues music in general. Yeah,
and it's pulling all sorts of aged audiences, isn't it?
Absolutely. I find it fascinating to look out there and see we had a little fella, probably 4 years old. He wanted in the front row the other night. He wanted a Blues Brothers birthday. So they brought him, and he was all dressed up, and man, he was rocking. And I just think it's funny that other kids might be looking at video games, and he wants to go to a Blues Brothers show.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, Keiron, what's your favorite number that you do in the show?
Well, I got to say, I really don't have a particular favorite, because I think it really represents music from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I just love that progression of music. So I don't know if I have a particular favorite. I love that transition from all those eras. We've recently been doing Minnie the Moocher, which is, of course, a classic
great
tune
song,
from 1933.
Absolutely.
And so, any tune that we're, the newest thing that we're doing, that's my favorite.
Good answer. I hear you got everybody in the audience, wherever you play, up on their feet, dancing away, and right around Australia. We can't wait to see you too. Travel safely, and everyone should look out for the official Blues Brothers review with the extremely talented Keiron Lafferty playing Elwood. Thanks for your time today, Keiron.
Thank you, Sandy. Pleasure talking to you.